that I call the totalitarian tiptoe. It's another perceptual mind manipulation technique. And that works like this. You are at A, and you know that your agenda is going to take the world to Z. But you know if you go from A to Z in too big a leap, the changes in society are going to be so fundamental that many people are going to look up from the game show and the sport, and they're going to say, what's going on? Ethel, what's going on here? Look what they're doing. So you don't go in big leaps. You use the totalitarian tiptoe. You go as fast as you can, but not so fast that people start to see the pattern and realize that it's all connected. So you'll go from A to B, and maybe go to D if you can get away with it, and so on. But all the time, you're moving towards this Z goal, which is total human control. And I have this phrase that I use: know the outcome, and you'll see the journey. This is why it's crucial to uncover what the agenda's outcomes are planned to be. Because once you know that, you can see the stepping stones, the totalitarian tiptoe to those outcomes. If you don't know what the outcomes are planned to be, then all these events just appear random. Oh, something else has happened. Oh, that's happened. Oh, now that's happened. But there's no connection apparently between the two. But if you know what the outcome is planned to be, know the outcome, and you'll see the journey, because you'll see that these events, through problem-reaction-solution not least, are using the excuses to push us on to those outcomes.
It's like this. You start by secretly creating a problem in the world and making sure someone else is blamed for it in the public arena, in the public mind. It could be a run on a currency, it could be a government collapse, at its most extreme it could be a war, because the two world wars in this century were funded, all sides were funded by the same people. Provable. The same people that funded the Allies in the Second World War and funded the Soviet Union also funded Hitler through loans from America known as the Young Plan and the Dawes Plan, and also via the German subsidiaries of American multinational companies. Why would they do that? Why would someone want to fund all sides in a war? What is good is a war? Well, first of all, on one level, it makes vast amounts of money if you're lending money to all sides and you're also selling them lots of arms and all that stuff. But the fundamental reason for a war is to change the nature of post-war society. And what we saw in the First World War and the Second World War were massive global examples of problem-reaction-solution. We are looking at a gigantic con-trick before our eyes. We don't live in a democracy in this country or in America or in these other places. We live in a one-party state where the same force from the peak of the pyramid string pulls all sides. The creation of a one-world government to which nation-states would be principalities, administrative units, a world central bank which would administer all financial transactions on the planet, a world currency which wouldn't be coins and notes, it would be merely electronic, cashless society, for which there are fundamental implications for freedom, as we'll see as we go along tonight. A world army under centralized control, with nation-state armies dismantled under the justification of seeking peace, and a microchipped population linked to a global computer, the latter of which sounds bizarre to many people on first hearing, except that we are ridiculously close to it and the technology already exists.
So World Health Organization says there's going to be a measles epidemic next year. Get vaccinated. Get your children vaccinated. You're a bad parent if you don't.
Then the same people that organize that then start flogging out the vaccine and make a fortune out of it. So if we take one element of that under problem-reaction-solution, it's amazing the extent to which we have given our power away.
over with all the bombs that they're dropping on them.
Yeah, in fact, a close aide of President Putin, who has special responsibility for Ukraine, has actually said this week that the United States is preparing for a war against Russia through Ukraine, and that what they plan is to try to take Crimea back. Now, you can have the odd bit of terrorism and bad things happen in Ukraine to Russian supporting people, and Putin can stay back and hold his fire because he knows what they're trying to manipulate him into. But if they try to take Crimea back, Putin's ego and Putin's pride will no way, I would strongly suspect, allow him just to let them do it.
Exactly.
And therefore, that if they try to take Crimea back, then what you're looking at is a war, or a calculated war against Russia.
Yeah.
And if you start a front against Russia on its borders, and then all this stuff going on in the Middle East, you are diluting Russia's impact on what's happening in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And it's all a setup.
Across the millennium years is crunch time in this whole agenda, crunch time for the human race. This is the time when this network of interbreeding bloodlines wants to bring in its global fascist structure of a world government to which nation states would be administrative units, of a world central bank and a world currency, a currency that wouldn't be cash, it would be merely electronic, for which there are fundamental implications for human freedom. And also the world army, which is designed to be NATO, expanding and expanding as it is now, of course, to become the fully fledged world army, world police force. And underpinning that little lot is designed to be a microchip population, in which we are microchipped with our financial details, our medical details, etc., etc. And that would allow not only electronic tagging, people knowing where we are all the time, it would allow the external manipulation through this electronic means of our mental and emotional processes. This will happen unless the human race wakes up and wakes up fast. And to do that, we need to understand what's really going on. And to let people know that, we've got to stop beating about the bush, stop pulling punches, stop pussyfooting around, keeping information from people, oh my goodness, how will they react, and just say, this is going on, take it or leave it, make of it what you will, but this is what's going on.